From the moment their Jeep jumped onto our ranch road, Grandpa whispered only one thing: they shouldn't have come here. Dust exploded behind them as the woman leaned out the window and screamed, "You! Step away from the gate! HOA has taken control of this land!" HOA? On our ranch? 5 miles away from the nearest streetlight? Before I could ask anything, the man driving flashed a crooked badge like it was supposed to blind us. HOA enforcement! You two are trespassing on restricted property. Grandpa looked at them the way a man looks at a snake pretending to be a horse. The woman jumped out, marched straight to our fence, and slapped a bright orange notice on it. Eviction issued! Your structures violate HOA view standards. Grandpa didn't move, but the skin around his eyes tightened. She walked in deeper like she owned the air. Your animals, your barn, even that old truck, everything is now under HOA control. Comply or get removed. I could feel something boiling under Grandpa's silence. He stepped forward and said quietly, "Ma'am, we're not part of any HOA." She smiled like she was waiting for those words. "Well, you are now, and this ranch, you won't be living here much longer." Something inside Grandpa snapped into place, not loud, but sharp. He turned to me and said, "Go inside, lock the door." I whispered, "Why? They're just pretending." He cut me off. "No, they made one mistake." "What?" His eyes flicked toward their Jeep, still idling on our private road. They came in without knowing how they're gonna get out. And right then, he walked toward the tool shed with that slow, dangerous calm I had only seen once before, the day he told me what he did in the army. "Some folks learn too late," he muttered, "that old men on ranches ain't harmless."
Grandpa walked back with that old metal box he never let anyone touch. The Jeep engine rumbled behind us like it was daring him to react. The woman crossed her arms and said, "Don't make this harder. My officers are on standby." Grandpa didn't even look at her. He knelt, opened the box, and I heard the clink of tools he hadn't used in years. The man in the Jeep yelled, "Sir, step away! You're interfering with HOA procedures." Grandpa finally raised his head, eyes calm like a man measuring distance before pulling a trigger. "You two keep saying HOA, but neither of you asked who owns this road." The driver smirked. "We do! Now move!" Grandpa smiled back, but it wasn't friendly. "You sure about that?" Before they could answer, he started dragging a rusty chain across the dirt road, slow and steady, like he'd been waiting years to use it again. The woman scoffed, "What is he doing? You can't block an HOA inspection." But Grandpa wasn't blocking them. He was preparing for when they tried leaving. And the way he kept glancing at their Jeep, it felt like he already knew they weren't planning on walking out quietly once they learned the truth.
Grandpa walked back with that old metal box he never let anyone touch. The Jeep engine rumbled behind us like it was daring him to react. The woman crossed her arms and said, "Don't make this harder. My officers are on standby." Grandpa didn't even look at her. He knelt, opened the box, and I heard the clink of tools he hadn't used in years. The man in the Jeep yelled, "Sir, step away! You're interfering with HOA procedures." Grandpa finally raised his head, eyes calm like a man measuring distance before pulling a trigger. "You two keep saying HOA," he said softly, "but neither of you asked who owns this road." The driver smirked. "We do. Now move." Grandpa smiled back, but it wasn't friendly. "You sure about that?" Before they could answer, he started dragging a rusty chain across the dirt road, slow and steady, like he'd been waiting to use it again. The woman scoffed, "What is he doing? You can't block an HOA inspection." But Grandpa wasn't blocking them. He was preparing for when they tried leaving. And the way he kept glancing at their Jeep, It felt like he already knew they weren't planning on walking out quietly once they learned the truth.
The woman grabbed a walkie-talkie and hissed into it. "Unit 3, move in." Static. No reply. She tried again. "Unit 3!" Grandpa chuckled under his breath. "You waiting for backup? Honey, the nearest signal tower is 8 miles that way." Her face dropped, realizing her bluff had nowhere to land. The driver stepped out, trying to regain control. "Sir, listen, this area has new HOA zoning. We're here to—" Grandpa cut him cold. "Zoning doesn't apply to federal veteran land." The man froze. The woman blinked like she didn't understand the words. And then Grandpa said the line that changed everything. "This ranch was given to me after combat service. You just trespassed on federal property." For a second, the wind felt louder than their breathing.
The woman suddenly lunged toward me, grabbing my phone. "You're not calling anyone!" she screamed. Her nails scraped my hand, and Grandpa stepped forward so sharply the dirt lifted around his boots. "Put your hands off my grandson," he growled. But she panicked and shoved me back. I stumbled. That was it. The moment Grandpa's patience snapped. He reached into his old box and pulled out a flat, black device. The driver stepped back. What is that? You can't use weapons." Grandpa pressed a button. A loud click echoed. The Jeep behind them suddenly sagged on one side like its air had been punched out. The woman gasped. "What did you do?" Grandpa shrugged. "Military-grade tire deflator. Not a weapon, a tool." The driver spun around to see all 4 tires slowly sinking. "That road brought you in," Grandpa said, "but I'm deciding how you get out." Their panic started turning real.
The woman tried grabbing the fake badge from her partner and waving it in Grandpa's face. "This badge gives me authority." Grandpa leaned so close she had to step back. "That badge," he whispered, "is a felony in my county." I finally reached the sheriff. "Stay where you are," the sheriff said. "We've been looking for a pair matching that description for weeks." My heart dropped. Weeks? The woman must have heard, because she snatched the walkie again and screamed for backup that didn't exist. Grandpa pointed toward the Jeep. "Check the glove box," he said to me. "Bet you'll find papers they shouldn't have." I opened the door and my breath caught. Stacks of fake notices. Dozens of names. Files from houses miles away, all with their signatures. The woman rushed toward me, but Grandpa stopped her with just a look. That quiet, dangerous look a soldier learns when talking isn't needed anymore. The real sheriff's truck came speeding down the road, lights flashing. The woman tried to run, but her foot caught the chain, and she collapsed. The man lifted his hands immediately. Sheriff Daniels stepped out, shaking his head. "Ma'am, impersonating law enforcement? Harassing veterans? Trespassing on federal property?" She stuttered. We thought we were helping the community." Grandpa pointed at the glove box evidence. "They weren't helping anyone." The sheriff cuffed them both while they begged, claimed misunderstanding, tried blaming each other. Grandpa didn't say a word. He just watched, the way a man watches trouble finally walk away in its own handcuffs. When the Jeep got hauled up on the tow truck, its flat tires dragging in the dirt, Grandpa whispered, "Next time they come onto my road, it'll be on their knees." After the sheriff left, Grandpa and I stood in the quiet, open land, the sky stretching wide like it was proud of him. I asked, "How did you know what to do so fast?" He smiled at the horizon. "Son, I didn't fight for this country to be pushed off my own land by fools with printer paper. We removed the fake eviction notice together." Grandpa crumpled it in his hand. "That ranch road raised me,
your father, and now you," he said softly. "No HOA, no fake cop, no bully decides what happens here." I looked at the empty road where their Jeep had sat. "Grandpa, what if more people like them come?" He patted my shoulder. "They'll leave the same way those two did, slower than they came in." The wind carried his words across the ranch like a promise, and for the first time that day, the land felt safe again, because the old soldier who owned it had reminded everyone what real authority looked like.